Here at the park, there were also some standing stones, which you can see here inside this fence here, which archaeologists refer to as stele. And so you see one here. It aligns. There is another stele across. Get a good look at the stele here. There's another stele across the site, all the way over on the other side of the site, that it aligns with. And so this stele behind me, it aligns with another stele across the site, and this aligns with the winter solstice sunrise. When you line these 2 points up, this stele here and the stele right here to the stele across the park, it aligns with the winter solstice sunrise. We have the stele across the park also aligns with the large flat-top pyramid at the site called Mound A, and that alignment is with the summer solstice sunrise. So you have 2 solar alignments based around one stele, stele 2, across the site. This is another. The Maya always align their sites with solstices, with equinoxes, with various stars, including Venus was one of the really important ones. So this is again consistent with Maya site design. In front of me, I'm walking towards Mound A. This is the largest flat-top temple mound at this site. This is the location from where it aligns with stele 2 across the plaza here with the summer solstice sunrise. So I'm standing in front of what's called Mound A here. This is the largest of the flat-top pyramids at this site. According to the archaeologists who excavated this site and radiocarbon dated it, these are the oldest flat-top pyramids outside of Mexico. After this time period, this type of architecture would spread all through the southeast and the Midwest of the US, but this is where it began. These are the oldest. And so you have to ask the question, why? Why this type of architecture during this time period? Why here? Did the locals just all of a sudden invent flat-top pyramids? Or did someone who has already had that architectural tradition come here and use their labor, of course, to build them? So certainly the Native Americans themselves built these flat-top pyramids, but were they the reason they were built? We could say that the Mohawk Indians of New York, the Mohawk tribe, are the ones who built the skyscrapers of New York City, and we'd be right. They are in fact the ones who provided the labor to build many of those skyscrapers, but they weren't really the reason the skyscrapers were built. There were people higher up in the food chain, so to speak, who caused those skyscrapers to be built. I think the same thing can be said here. The local Native Americans certainly provided the labor to build these flat-top pyramids, but they were not the reason, the impetus for why these pyramids were built in the first place. And so you have to, when you look at the preponderance of the evidence, the overall pattern of the evidence, you see these are the oldest flat-top pyramids in the US, the first of their kind outside of Mexico. You have the Mayan glyphs on the pottery. You have the unique form of pottery, the mammiform tetrapods. You have the Mayan religious symbolism of the Mayan glyph-shaped mound with its associations with spirit and breath of life, and the star-shaped mound with its association with the afterlife, where the Maya believed that the souls went after death, and the Venus glyphs on the potteries, which also have the spiritual associations with life, death, and rebirth. And so the pattern of the evidence suggests it just doesn't seem likely that the local Native Americans created all these things, the totality of it, independently. You know, that's not the most reasonable explanation. Now, I don't know if Native Americans went there and were influenced, but again, you have to remember, the advanced civilization was Mexico. The people living in Florida at the time were hunters and gatherers, and before this time hadn't built anything larger than a sand burial mound. So which is the more likelier explanation? That Native Americans went to Mexico and were influenced and came back and then copied what they had seen? Or that Maya came here and missionized the Native Americans here in order to exploit them for labor and resources back in their expanding metropolises at the time? Based on human nature as we see it today, the first world exploiting the third world, the advanced civilizations exploiting the less advanced civilizations. So it would seem the most likely situation here was that the Maya were here. I don't know in how many numbers. Maybe it was just one family, two families of traders, maybe only a priest who stayed here full year. That's what the Spanish did. They would have just one priest who lived at their missions year-round, and most of the Spanish lived back either at St. Augustine or back in Spain. They didn't come here en masse. I don't think the Maya came here en masse. I think maybe either one religious person or maybe one trading family with a religious person was at this site. But it eventually spread. This type of architecture, this type of pottery, it spread throughout the Southeast very quickly. And so at that point you have to ask the question, how many traders were here? Because I don't think one family of traders was responsible for what we see happening in the Southeast at this time.